Do not invest in real estate without knowing these 5 things. Welcome to today's episode of the Lady Landlords Podcast. I am your host, founder of Lady Landlords, Becky Nova. Now, I see so many women going out there making mistakes in buying their properties, and it's driving me crazy. So today, I want to talk about the things that you need to make sure you are paying attention to be a successful real estate investor. Otherwise, I feel like people are going out there, and this is when you hear all these bad stories in Lady Landlords of who lost money, who has problem tenants, who's going through their 5th eviction of the year, who lost money on properties, all of those different things. Those are happening because people are not considering these 5 things. They need to be planned. They need to be thinking about these things ahead of time. Okay, so grab a pad and pen because you might want to take notes here, ladies, and make sure that you have all of these things clearly in order and understood before you go out and buy your next rental. So the first topic we're going to talk about today is understanding your goals. I see so many real estate investors get stuck in analysis paralysis. Someone out there listening to this might be familiar with that, where they're like, oh, that's me. I keep listening to this podcast. I keep reading through the Lady Landlords Facebook group, but I don't go out there and buy action. One of the reasons for that is probably because you don't know what you're actually trying to get to. Until you have a clear path of what you're looking to accomplish in real estate, you probably aren't going to be taking much action because there is no clear path. There is no right way to go because of that. So what you want to make sure to think about first is what you are trying to get to. What are we looking to accomplish with real estate investing? Personally, for me, it's because I wanted to go travel. It's because I wanted to be able to live abroad. I wanted to move to other places, and I want to be able to do that freely whenever I want. I don't have to ask permission. I don't want to have to send another email asking for time off and asking for permission to have that time off. And I still want to get paid while I do that. With wanting to be in different time zones and living in different countries, that's also something that I wanted to make sure that I had that consistent cash flow coming in at all times. And real estate investing is just a great way to set me up for that. So having that goal set in mind, knowing what I was really trying to get to, and also really defining how much money I need to do that. What does that life look like for me? What taxes, legal structure, what other things do I have to put in place to be able to live that type of lifestyle? Was that incredibly important to have that balanced out. But I needed to know where I was going so that way I could see what all the steps look like. For example, you just don't get into your car and start driving until you know what you're actually trying to get to. For example, I'm a horrible driver. I'm from New York, didn't really grow up driving too much, a little bit, but I've always hated it. And I'm actually really, really bad at it too. So I personally never drive anywhere without a GPS. I still can't really understand how to follow the GPS, but that's a different story. But with that, I can't put in nowhere into a GPS. I have to give it a destination. I have to know where we're going. Otherwise, a GPS cannot give me the steps, cannot give me the order of what I should be doing. And honestly, real estate investing is the exact same way. So if you have not identified why this is important to you, what you want out of this industry, honestly, you shouldn't go out and buy property. You should really sit and think about and start writing down what you're looking for. It's a great opportunity right now to make a vision board, to think about what you want to have your life look like in 5, 10, 15 years, to start journaling about what exactly about this industry that you are looking to get out of this. Those are the things that you really want to think about. So that is number one place you absolutely have to start before moving forward. The second part that's really kind of coupled with that is you have to understand your strategy. I see so many investors out there, and it kind of reminds me of watching like really little kids, like 5-year-olds, like play soccer. If you've ever seen kids play soccer, all of a sudden the ball gets hit in one direction, every single kid runs over into that place, right? That's not how positions work, right? You're supposed to have a defense, you're supposed to have an offense. There's different positions in soccer or baseball or any sport, really. But if you ever watch kids, they just all go after the ball. Everybody all of a sudden is offense. Everybody all of a sudden is defense. It's just the way that it works. And I feel like I see so many real estate investors end up in that same place. Because you see some crazy strategy all of a sudden pop up on Instagram by some guru out there that's just showing big flashy checks or just standing next to really nice cars. And then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, Well, since that worked for him or her, now I guess I have to do the same. But the problem is that one, your goals are completely different. Two, the strategy that you should be employing, all because that's what some other person is doing and they're telling you, hey, this has worked for me, does not necessarily mean that that's what you should also be doing. I'm not going to name names here, but there is one other person I know in real estate that actually has a great presence on Instagram and is always putting out content, is always working on this, that, and the other. And honestly, from a content perspective, it's pretty impressive. But I watch it and I'm exhausted. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, if you were doing these 1,000 things every single day to grow your real estate portfolio, honestly, that is so not the lifestyle that I want. I want to be on my beach. I want to have a book in my hand and I want to have a pina colada in the other one. Okay. That's what I am looking for. So when I see other people out there, I am actually repelled from the strategies because I'm sitting there being like, I so don't want to do those things. It looks exhausting. If your Instagram is exhausting, I can't imagine what your life would actually be like in that. So stop chasing that soccer ball wherever it goes. Understand what's going to work for you. What strategy, what type of financing, what type of property should you be buying? What is your buy box? What does that look like for you? That's actually going to aid you to your goals, not what is some other dude doing on Instagram. That is not going to help you. Okay. The third thing that you need to know before you invest in real estate is you need to understand your numbers. Okay. As much as we can talk about those mindset pieces and the education pieces and all those things that need to be set up, honestly, at the end of the day, this is investing. This comes down to numbers. You're either making money or you're not making money. Okay. You need to start to learn what all those different acronyms mean. You need to understand what numbers are important for the strategy that you pick to get you to that goal that you really want. All of these things are really intertwined and work together. And you need to make sure that they match up and align. So really understanding not only how to calculate your numbers, how to get those numbers to even put into the formula, but then all of a sudden now you get that number. Cool. That property tells me that I will cash flow $400. Well, now you have to think about, is that good? Is that bad? Well, you know what? What's good for you might not be good for me. And those are okay things because we have different goals. We have different strategies. See a theme here? So that's something that you want to really make sure to identify. What are those numbers telling you, right? This is the same when it comes to deal analysis. This is the same when it comes to market research. You need to understand the information that the number is telling you. And that's how you make your decision on what you're offering, what you're buying, what you're rehabbing, what you're renting for. All of those decisions come from really understanding the numbers of the actual investment that you would be making. The fourth thing you need to think about is your legalities. You need to start thinking about your local laws, your state, your federal laws. You need to think about how that impacts your leases, your renting, right? Some states are much more landlord friendly. Other states are much more tenant friendly. You have to consider what those things look like. And you also have to understand what you can do as a landlord, what you cannot do as a landlord, what you are responsible for as a landlord, what you are not responsible for a landlord. Understanding all of those different things and those legalities is going to make you either a great real estate investor or, unfortunately, the real estate investor and possibly landlord that's going to end up on the news for really having some big problems. And I don't want to see you end up there. Really getting that education on managing tenants. You are in a huge responsibility place as a landlord. We are responsible for the overall structure, maintenance of these properties where other humans are living. We have to make sure that there is the upkeep, that there are safety measures that are put in place, that we have the right insurance put in place, that we are doing really the right things to protect our fellow humans and provide them with clean, safe, stable housing. So do make sure going into this, I can't tell you how many times I'll see a post on Lady Landlords that talks about somebody that owns a property and a situation happens and they're like, well, should I do this or this? No. These are things we need to think about before we get into these situations. Plug into your local community. There are either local real estate investor groups, there are city council meetings that you can go to. There are always politicians that are out there willing to absolutely talk about different legislation or what things might be impacting what your rental business in a certain area is going to look like. Get involved, protect your investment. Okay. I just named a whole bunch of things that you're probably like, wow, I didn't really necessarily think about all these things. This is going to sound like a lot of work. This is a lot more things. I've got to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And the last tip that I'm going to give for you today is that you have to remember to have fun in this. Okay. So many of you are interested in real estate investing to get you to a freedom, to get you to a place where you don't necessarily have to worry about those bills, or maybe you're going to make your work optional, or maybe you can go and start that passion project that you've always wanted to be able to do, or maybe you just want to spend more time with your family. Whatever that looks like, real estate investing, it's supposed to be fun. I look at this every single day as I get up and I get to go play a game, a huge life-size version of Monopoly. And that to me is so cool. There are so many possibilities in real estate investing. One of my favorite things about real estate investing is that there's a place for everybody in this, for people that have money, for people that don't have money, for people that have been doing this for years, for people that are new. There are so many different strategies and so many different ways to get involved in the game of real estate investing. But if you are out there and you're not having fun, if you are saying this just sounds just as bad as the day job that I'm trying to quit or the lifestyle at home that I'm trying to get out of, you are doing this wrong. And honestly, you got to go back to steps 1, being your goals, and step 2, your strategy. Because if you are not enjoying this, if you are not saying, oh, I can't wait to go solve this problem and can't wait to figure out and go do this, there is, I almost guarantee you, a misalignment between the goals of what you're trying to reach in real estate investing and the strategy that you chose to get you to that said goal. Those are not matching. They are misaligned. And that is why you are not having fun. That is why you are spinning your wheels. That is why you are stuck in analysis paralysis. And that's why, honestly, you're not going to be able to grow as a real estate investor until you get that and the other 4 things that I mentioned really sorted to be able to move forward with your real estate investing portfolio. So those are my 5 things that you need to know before buying real estate. So thank you very much for joining me today. If you need any help with any of those 5 steps that we reviewed today, head over to our website at lady-landlords.com. Please do make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you do not miss another episode of the Lady Landlords Podcast. We release new episodes every single Tuesday. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Thank you for listening to the Lady Landlords Podcast. If you're feeling stuck in your real estate investing journey, visit lady-landlords.com to book a 15-minute orientation call with me and see if you're ready to join our mentorship program. Or you can subscribe to our newsletter and join our Facebook group for exclusive real estate investing tips and offers. Invest with confidence. Become a Lady Landlord today.